You have got to be kidding me. Right now, there are 4 silent killers destroying your indoor seedlings without you even realizing it. And if you don't know what to look for, it will undo weeks of your hard work. Today, I'm going to show you what those killers are and the simple fixes that will save your plants so you have strong, healthy seedlings to plant out in the garden when spring comes and you don't have to start over from scratch. Silent killer number 1 is compacted soil on your indoor containers or your seedling trays. Now, the reason why this is such a problem, take a look at this pot right here, is that when the soil has a firm, hard, crusty top, what happens is air can't get down to the roots, neither can water or nutrients, and it also creates more of a breeding ground for fungus gnats, which can eat away at the roots of your plants, and it can severely stunt your seedlings. So while this soil is kind of hard and crusty, look at the difference in the tomato plant right next to it. The soil is nice and loose and fluffy, which means that the roots are getting oxygen, air, nutrients, and look how healthy this plant looks. The leaves are nice and green and even has tomatoes on it. It's got lots of flowers up here, which means I'll be getting more tomatoes soon, as opposed to the pepper plant here that just looks kind of sickly and not that great. Even though it has a little pepper on it, this plant, if I don't do anything now, it's definitely not going to make it, and it won't be very productive or healthy when it comes time to put it out in the garden. Now, the good news is the fix for this is super easy, and you already have the tools on hand right in your kitchen. Grab a skewer or a regular dinner fork or even a pencil. And about once a week, all you need to do is just go around to your indoor plants and your indoor seedlings and just fluff the soil up. That's it. So you kind of want to start at the edge of your pot. We're not stabbing the soil here. We're just lightly fluffing it up to bring more oxygen into the plant, just so the water can get through. And fungus gnats absolutely love really moist soil. So what this will do is give your soil aeration so it dries out just a bit in between waterings. You don't want to overwater, which will make the conditions more unfavorable for those fungus gnats that can eat around the soil of your plants. So what a difference here. We went from compacted soil to nice and light and fluffy, just like the tomato plant, and it should really help this plant perk up. Now, another thing I like to do for my seedlings is rather than taking a fork and fluffing the plant up, all I like to do is grab the skewer and simply pop it down into the seedling trays. And just that small little action will help aerate the soil, won't disturb the roots too much, and will really create a more favorable environment for your plants. Thanks for watching our videos. If you're watching our videos and haven't subscribed, thanks. So one little fix now, and your plants will drain, your roots won't get root rot, and the fungus gnats will lose their home, helping your seedlings stay on track. They'll be ready to plant out in the garden instead of forcing you to start completely over. Silent killer number 2 are aphids, an absolutely horror story when you're growing seedlings or plants inside. And the reason why aphids are absolutely so terrible is because they literally suck the life right out of your plants. This entire seedling tray has aphids who were actually just gone for a week. And when I came back home, I was absolutely horrified because they were starting to spread to the rest of my plants. So that not only do they suck the life right out of your plants, they spread insanely fast, especially inside, and can quickly infest your entire batch of indoor seedlings. So something to look for is distorted leaves. See how these are kind of yellowing and a little bit curled? So the curled leaves are one of the first signs you want to look for. And you can see here how there's little teeny tiny white specks on this leaf, and those are aphids. But you also want to look on the underside of your leaves. Often they like to hide underneath. And look at that leaf. That is absolutely aphid infested, and this will quickly spread to the rest of your plants, completely stunting their growth, or worse yet, absolutely killing all of your indoor plants before they even get big enough to plant them outside. Thankfully, this has an easy fix too. My go-to is Takedown by Monterey, and this is an organic spray that's safe to use inside. And the reason why I like this so much is because it kills the aphids immediately upon contact. And I do not want to mess around with aphids. There's no natural predators indoors, and I cannot emphasize enough, the aphids will spread to your entire batch of indoor seedlings, and all of your hard months of work will be wasted. Now, what you want to do when you spray for aphids is you want to make sure you spray not only the tops of the leaves like I'm doing here, but also spray the underside. Remember this nasty little leaf we just looked at? If you don't spray those aphids right there, they are just going to continue to live and spread to the rest of your garden. And takedown also kills all stages of the aphids, the eggs, the larvae, and the adults. So I'm also going to spray the soil in case there's any aphids or even any fungus gnats lurking in the soil. Now, it's super important that to prevent aphids in the first place, you make sure that you check your plants on a regular basis. I would even say check them every couple of days. And then if you have or see the aphids, immediately spray them with takedown. Takedown is a concentrate. I just follow the package directions, put some here in my spray bottle, and I always keep a spray bottle of this around. That way I can take care of the aphids as soon as I see the issue come up. If you haven't yet started your indoor seedlings, now is a great time to do it so that you have transplants ready to put outside after your last frost date. If you need seeds, please head over to our website, CALIKIMGardenandHome.com. We've just updated many of our seed collections, including our most popular, our spring garden seed collection. You can get 25% off with the code ThinkSpring. So go back and watch our What to Plant in January video for all the details on what you can start from seed right now. The third silent killer that will wreck your indoor seedlings is when you have root-bound seedlings that are outgrowing their seedling tray, like these are here. I mean, look at these seedlings. They look very, very sickly. Some are just not going to make it because the roots don't have enough room in these small seed cells to continue growing. They're not getting air or nutrients. And the bottom line is, if that's happening, they are just not going to grow. So then you'll be forced to start over once again. So the fix for this, thankfully, is also very, very easy. If it's not the right temperature for you to plant, say, this tomato plant outdoors, what you can do is pot it into a larger container, about one size bigger. So I'm just gonna use this recycled little pot from the nursery, fill it about halfway full of some fresh seed starting mix. And you do want to continue to use your seed starting mix here because it's light and fluffy. It's not as coarse as potting mix. So what I'm going to do is just kind of get this tomato plant out of the seed cell here. And you can see how it's kind of difficult to get out. The roots are just kind of starting to wrap around the bottom. The plant is looking kind of floppy. And we're going to put this tomato plant deep into the container and then add some more seed starting mix to fill it up to the top. The seed starting mix is nice and light and fluffy and also has some fresh nutrients to give my tomato plant. This way it has room to kind of spread out here in the pot. It'll save me a lot of time because I won't have to start from scratch. I'll be able to get it planted outside sooner and I'll get harvest sooner. A win-win. Now you can see the difference in these plants here. Honestly, guys, I let these go way too long. They're going to be stunted. You can see how they're already dying. It's really not even worth me trying to save these plants. So these ones are going to have to go in the plant hospital, or actually the plant mortuary, and I'll have to completely start over with those. Silent killer number 4 for your indoor seedlings is leggy seedlings. Now let me show you an example here on my lettuce plants. You can see how they're kind of flopping over here. The culprit is the legginess. And what I mean by legginess is tall, thin stalks that aren't going to be strong enough to hold the plants up, and that way your plants will not be strong and healthy. Now the biggest fix for this is to prevent legginess from happening in the first place. So what you want to do when you're first planting your indoor seedlings is put your seedlings only about 3 to 4 inches away from your grow lights. That way the stems won't have to reach up too far to reach the light. What happens when they have to reach too far is the stems become weak and leggy. Now this dill plant here is kind of a perfect example. It's sort of flopping over because these are actually a little bit further away from the light. Now another thing that can cause legginess is when you put too many seeds in one seed cell. So they're kind of competing for the light. So these lettuce seedlings here are a good example. I planted way too many, and can you see here how the stems are just a little bit leggy instead of being nice and strong and stocky. Now what I can do at this point is go in and thin out the seedlings so they have a little bit more room to spread, but you can also transplant your seedlings into deeper containers and then either plant them outside in the garden or leave them indoors under grow lights if the time is not right to plant them outside. So you want to ask yourself a couple of questions. Number 1, is it warm enough to plant a tomato outside? If your answer is no, transplant it and leave it outside. If your answer is yes, like my lettuce seedlings here, I can actually plant them outdoors in the garden. So we're going to go outside and I'm going to show you how to do that to support those stems so that you can still save your leggy seedlings. First of all, very important step if you're going to plant some of your seedlings outdoors. Make sure you harden them off first. We've got plenty of videos on how to do that. But basically what that is gradually transitioning them to the outdoors by putting them in shade, then gradually into sunlight so they're outdoors 24/7 and they can withstand the elements, because it's a great big shock for them to go under grow lights to outside. So make sure you do this process. So what I'm going to do is transplant some of my seedlings here into my pot. So I have a nice little pot of lettuce out here where I can just step outside and grab them. First step, and super important when you're transplanting them into a pot that has already been planted in, already has soil in it, is to fluff the soil up just like we did indoors, and then to add some fresh new potting mix. So really important that you give the plant those nutrients so that it can get off to a good start and grow you some good vegetables. So my go-to is the bumper crop potting soil. It's great because it's nice and light and fluffy for containers. It drains well, but also has really good nutrients and helps the soil not get compacted. So the plants can immediately take up the nutrients and the water that they need. And the perlite in here helps it from drying out too quickly. So you've got fresh nutrients in your container. And now what I'm going to do is make several holes for my lettuce seedlings, and I'm going to make these kind of deep because they're going to need that extra support for the leggy stems. I'm going to take my little spoon and very carefully dig my lettuce seedlings out of here, drop it down into the hole there so those leggy stems get plenty of support, and then just gently backfill it with the fresh potting mix. And then rinse and repeat for the other 3 seedlings. Now these might look a little bit wilted for a couple of days. Not to worry, I've done this so many times. It's a great way to save your seedlings. They're gonna perk up with a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of water, a little bit of care and love. And before you know it, I'll be harvesting some beautiful salads from this container. If these were left too long in the seed cells, they would eventually die. So transplant them before they get past the point of no return. Now you know what to do. Go check your plants. Let me know what you find in the comments and what you're going to do to fix them. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.